Well, we're just starting to take out the Rachni problem, and there's already a fatality. Let's see if we can get any further without more of those. Sure would help if there was no other humans in here. That'd be a good start. There's a mirror terminal. Are you any help?
Connecting. I have full access to the facility and am at your disposal.
So I'm supposed to do the neutron purge, huh? Was that elevator ride long enough that this is separate from everyone else, or am I gonna kill everyone else I saw before? That seems like a problem.
How many Rachni are in here?
I'm sorry, the sensor network is too damaged to provide an accurate count.
Give me your best guess.
Guessing is beyond my design parameters, Commander.
Really? You can't do estimations?
What's the status of the facility?
Containment breach in Laboratory Pod Gamma. The neutron purge system is functional, but has not been armed.
What's the status of the facility?
Containment breach in Laboratory Pod Gamma. The neutron purge system is functional, but has not been armed.
Activate the neutron purge.
I'm sorry, but I can't do that without proper code authorization.
Code input 875020079. Code Omega local execution.
Verified. Code Omega execution in 120 seconds.
What, just like that? Oh shit. Okay, I see the catch. Nice to see you too, guys. Okay. We seem to be collecting problems at the moment. Jesus. Okay. Yeah. So, maybe don't go charging out the door, is my takeaway here. Holy shit. Is the autosave more? The autosave is 20 minutes ago, so no. At least the load times are fast on this platform. We may have weird texture wobble, but the load times are nice. This may be briefer than I thought. I thought this was going to be a whole section, but I guess I just go in here and initiate the purge and leave, right? I'll double check, but yeah, like that. Yeah, that's this whole room.
Connecting.
We're moving on.
Oopsie. Talk to it again.
Online.
God damn it!
Logging you
I'm waiting for a dialogue to pop up, so I hit X because that normally skips it.
Online. How can I help you?
Activate the neutron purge.
I'm sorry.
There we go.
But
And now hell. I'm just gonna say, everyone who has barrier maybe open with that. Just gonna say. Jesus. There's a start, I suppose. Oh. They're hard to get on their way in. Holy crap. It's just danger. Wow. They just keep coming. Unity, Liara? Just an attempt at least? Oh, she's down again. Well, shit. Pistol, I think, is the thing to use here. Take out the core enemies. We have time if I can just clear them out. They're just coming, aren't they? Are they just coming back? Come on. Going for it. Ah! We still have a minute. I think we're fine. I think we got this. Hopefully Liara... Yep, Liara's here. Everyone's fine. Yeah. You can't leave people behind in this game, or that'd be very tragic. Huh. I was worried about killing all life in the area that we don't want to kill, but I guess that's not the problem exactly. Sure. Ooh, right, people leveled up from that. From the sheer chaos of it all. Jeez. Sure, why not? Bonus advanced. Unity wouldn't hurt. Having more throw would be fun. Increasing the duration of lift would be fun. There's a lot of things I can do here. It's hard to pick sometimes. I do kind of like the idea of going further down shotguns, though. Let's see, you finished throw. Maybe Singularity? I think me doing shotguns is probably enough. Oh, barrier. Yeah, get the chance to unlock stasis. Mission complete. Yeah, depart Rift Station via the passenger tram that you arrived in. There we go. Here's a question though, what about all the other survivors? They just gone? So I can't follow up on them at all, huh? I just have to leave. That's odd. Huh. I feel like there was like a specific follow-up with the survivors that you get otherwise if you take a different path. And I think it's just not happening here. That takes me back to the Benezia boss chamber, and this is the tram that gets me out of here. Yeah, I think we concluded the mission. Alright. Let's go have drinks on the ship. On me. Maybe even physically, literally on me, I don't know. Depends on how adventurous we're feeling this day. So the question is, do I have to backtrack through the entire facility, or does it just teleport me back out? I might just show about back at the base. I'm bad at remembering this kind of things, but I feel like I never properly have to backtrack out of these kinds of places.
What's our next move, Commander? Head for the Mu Relay?
The Mu Relay could link to dozens of systems. Unless we know exactly where Saren's going, we'd just be wasting our time.
The Commander is right. We cannot rush off blind. We still need to learn more about Saren.
Who put you in charge? Did the Commander resign when I wasn't looking?
We're all on the same team here, Williams. She's just trying to help.
Sorry, Commander.
Look, this is a tough mission. We're all on edge. Everyone go get some rest. Crew dismissed.
Noveria report is away, Commander. You want me to patch you through to the Council?
Patch him through, Joker.
Setting up the link now, Commander.
Is this report accurate, Commander? You found Rachni on Noveria?
And then released the Queen. Do you have any idea what you've done? How many generations until they overrun the galaxy?
This Queen is different. She understands why her kind had to be wiped out last time around.
I hope you're right, Shepard. Our children's children will pay the price if you're not.
We'll be waiting for your next report, Commander.
Brief. Both of those conversations strike me as being somewhat shorter than they maybe could have been. They're willing to write so much about everyone's individual role on that facility I was just at, but the fallout of the Council with Arachni, or even, like, conflicts between my crew members after the mission are, like, a few seconds long. And that plays oddly. Let's check in on Joker. It's time to do the rounds around the ship and talk to everyone and see if there's any updates as a result of our progress.
Boy, am I glad to be off of Noveria. I don't know which was worse, the cold or the corporations. One will freeze your balls off, the other will sell them out from under you. With all due respect, Commander.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
Nope, no update there. I think that's more or less status quo for Joker, is you get contextual dialogue just by talking to him. But then the follow-up is all just, you can go talk about Vrolik's disease over and over again, basically. And we already did that right at the beginning. I think Dr. Chakwas is largely the same, and basically anyone who's not a usable party member, I think are basically people who tend to just mostly repeat the same stuff. I could check, though. She's right here next to Liara.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
Yep, same ones.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
If you are here to talk about Benezia's death, you need not bother. She brought it upon herself.
Don't pretend it doesn't bother you. She was your mother.
She was. But she was not. I prefer to remember Benezia as she used to be, before she was corrupted by Sovereign's power.
The best of your mother lives on in you. Her determination, her intelligence, her strength.
That is kind of you to say. I appreciate your concern, but I am fine. Benezia chose her path, just as I have chosen mine. I am with you until the end, Shepard.
Probably one of the main criticisms you can levy on the party members in this game is that they're generally well drawn and well written and well acted and everything like that. Like, that's all nice. Like, BioWare makes good party members, just generally. They've had a lot of practice. But this game's kind of short. This might be the shortest BioWare game ever made. It's hard to be for sure. I think I beat Jade Empire in 2 days at launch, which is why I have so little memory of that game, because I only played it once and I beat it in like 2 days over the course of a weekend. So that game was probably pretty short too. But like Jade Empire and Mass Effect are probably the shortest BioWare games I've ever played. And I assume the Baldur's Gate games are even longer than stuff like Dragon Age. So an issue of that is that they want to have meaningful character arcs, but the game's relatively short. So what happens is you end up, if you are going to get close with party members at all, the closeness kind of rings a little false because of how quickly it happens. Like over the course of like a couple missions, suddenly you're like having what is supposed to be like a meaningful relationship with some of these characters, but they've been on camera for like a couple of hours total or less in many cases, so it doesn't quite fit the way it does in other games by the same developer that just get more time to breathe usually.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
Benezia was swept up in events beyond her control and lost herself. She fell under the spell of indoctrination and became part of the very thing she wanted to stop. But I will remember and honor how she lived, not how she died. My mother was strong, kind, and beautiful. And now she is gone.
Are you gonna be okay?
You are kind to ask, Shepard. I do miss her, and I grieve for what happened to her. But I will not let my grief interfere with what we are trying to accomplish.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
Sounds dangerous. And lonely.
Sometimes I would run afoul of indigenous life forms or stumble across a small band of mercenaries or privateers, but I was always careful. Until the Geth followed me to Artemis Tau, I never found myself in any situation my biotics could not handle. As for the solitude, well, that is one aspect that most appealed to me. Sometimes I just need to get away from other people.
You must enjoy something about it.
I love my work. Seeking out history's lost secrets has a special appeal for me. You were actually touched by working Prothean technology. That is why I find you so fascinating, Commander.
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
What? No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to offend you, Shepard. I only meant that you would be an interesting specimen for an in-depth study. No, that's even worse.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Joking? Oh, by the goddess, how could I be so dense? You must think I am a complete and utter fool. Now you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
Yeah, just pretend this didn't happen. It's like, we're fine, Liara. Your mom just died? Remember that part? Don't think I'm gonna hold a good against you that you can't quite get a joke for a moment.
Do you have some time to talk now, Commander?
Of course. Have a seat.
We've played it pretty close to the book so far, but we're a long way from backup. We've got some tough calls to make. I'm just saying, try to leave yourself a way out. I've seen what cutting corners can do, and I'd hate to have that happen to you, Shepard. Commander.
That's not the appropriate way to address your commanding officer, Lieutenant.
Sorry, ma'am. Maybe I got a bad signal. And if you're maybe there's someone else you'd rather confide in. Ma'am.
All right, Alenko. Off the record, permission to speak candidly, cross my heart and hope to die. What are you talking about?
Dr. Tassoni, ma'am. There's a lower deck rumor that she's, interested in you as more than a source of Prothean data. She's a very interesting lady, to my, tastes, but, I never claimed to be big on alien culture.
This is exactly what I was talking about. Liara's been in the party for one mission so far, and already I apparently have created a love triangle. Or the beginnings of one.
You seem awfully worried about my personal affairs.
It's just that we don't have much downtime these days. I like being around you, but I don't want to take up your personal time.
Look, you didn't want to talk about Liara, did you? What's your real issue?
You're right. Sorry. It wasn't, Liara's not my main concern. I'm not questioning any decision you've made, Shepard. Let me be clear about that. It's just my experience that once someone lets something slide, it tends to pick up speed. Do you get my meaning?
You're talking about a particular example, aren't you?
You know the records about the biotic training out on Jump Zero? They're all classified, because the Alliance made mistakes. After first contact, Kinetics was set up to track Element Zero exposures and develop implants for humans. Once we had an embassy on the Citadel, Kinetics could bring in experts instead of taking it slow.
Is there some reason we couldn't learn it on our own?
They didn't know where to start. Hell, it took a couple of years to even link biotics and Ezo. Forget trying to get the kids to move stuff. They had trouble just helping them not break their own limbs. And their choice of teachers didn't help much.
The only experts would have to be aliens.
Dead on. Turians, actually. That's why Kinetics kept it a secret. They were afraid of what people back home would think, asking the Turians for help when we just fought a war with them.
The Asari would have been more acceptable than the Turians.
Yes, but the company didn't go through the Citadel. It would have made Earth look weak, so they discreetly hired some Turian mercenaries.
I'm sure Kinetics did what they thought was best.
It wasn't best for us. They brought in an ex-military Turian named Commander Vernus. To introduce himself, he liked to say, "I was at the helm of the dreadnought that killed your father." Well, I told him my dad wasn't in the war. He'd retired to Vancouver. My family had an inland home that matured to New Beachfront. Vernus had it in for me after that. He cut corners, pushed hard. I mean, you either came out a Superman or a wreck. A lot of kids snapped. A few died. The point of all of this, I guess, is that when you cut corners, it's not always obvious who pays for it.
So why are you telling me this? Is there something I can do to help you get over it?
I'm 32, Shepard. You don't serve as long as I have without coming to terms with yourself. You also learn that if someone is special to you, you help them. Try to keep them from making mistakes.
Special, huh?
If I'm out of line, just say the word.
You're not out of line, Kaidan. But there are regs.
I get you, Shepard. I don't make a habit of complicating the chain of command. Just think about what I said.
So they have to be vague here, like extremely vague, unless they wanted to record 100 billion lines of dialogue or something. Basically, I have a certain amount of renegade stat, and that's leading to Kaidan, somebody who has trouble with that kind of behavior, to questioning me. But unless they wanted to do some really creative script writing, it'd be really hard for him to specifically refer to the exact renegade actions that I did, which so far have mostly been a few threats and some smuggling. Nothing particularly nasty, as compared to, like, the person, especially compared to the Turian in his story.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Killing Saren's, what was Benezia anyway? Second in command? Advisor? Anyway, it should set him back a bit. I'm sure Dr. Tassoni's hurting, though. Poor kid. Having to kill her own mom.
Any opinion on the Rachni?
Off the record, if we had the option, I'd as soon have left it to the Council. We weren't out here during the Rachni War. I'm not sure we have any business getting involved.
But we literally couldn't do anything besides get involved, and that's the problem. We couldn't talk to some outside source. As far as I can tell, you I think you just have to make the decision then and there. I don't think you can leave and come back necessarily, or even if you do try to leave and come back, I don't think you necessarily... If you can go all the way back to the Normandy, I don't think you can specifically talk to anyone about it. That'd be interesting, though. I never really considered that. The problem seems so immediate that I can't consider it's hard to consider the idea that you could ever, like, leave and come back and have everything just pause where it is, even though everything is kind of paused and waiting for you to arrive, because each mission is always unfolding right when you're getting there.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
We'll talk later, Kaidan.
I'd like that.
So that's interesting, because I don't think I've actually ever gotten that dialogue with Kaidan before. There's no one here, right? This is just my office, I think? Yeah, personal manual. More codex for me. And experience. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that dialogue where he's trying to warn me about the stuff going wrong. I don't recognize the dialogue about the Turian either. That's the crazy thing about these types of games. Just BioWare games, or even CRPGs, or any Western RPG that has a sufficient amount of decisions and branches. Witcher 3 is bound to be full of that. To the point where I want to do a second playthrough of Witcher 3, but I'm also terrified about the prospect because of how obnoxiously huge the game is, which is completely not a problem with the game. Of course it's great it has so much content, because Witcher 3 is so good at not having its content be filler. Despite being so jam-packed with content, it's so rich in content, and it's impressive and mind-blowing, and it spoils me for all other games of its style. But damn, it's really intimidating to ever think about doing this a second alternate playthrough where I behave differently.
What do you want, Shepard?
Why did you become a mercenary?
Lots of reasons.
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
What happened?
I was betrayed. I was head of a small tribe. We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight. Turians, Solarians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
This is kind of informative because it shows why Rex is so cooperative and willing to work with a whole group and willing to go after larger things that aren't always for his own personal benefit, despite the fact that he's a Turian and I mean a Krogan, and despite his history as a mercenary. And it's that you find out that he was also basically the Krogan equivalent of a political activist. He tried to save his race. He fight for the greater good, despite everything. But he thinks he lost.
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting. I wanted him to stop leading the tribes astray. But he couldn't understand how much things had changed. We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation. And for a while, we were getting through. Some of the tribes started coming around.
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes. A meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from, and where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
Sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well, there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
Jared was your father?
He was, until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal. His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly. I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left, and that's why I'll never go back.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
You trying to make me cry, Shepard? I've got some unfinished business with my family, but that's all.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
What's so important about this armor?
It's a relic. Useless, really. But it was worn by 5 generations of my family before the war. It's rightfully mine. Originally, it was taken by the Turian military. We weren't allowed armor or weapons after the war. Now, it's in the hands of Ton Actus, a Turian scum who collects relics from the war. He's made millions selling Krogan artifacts that were stolen from my people. He's got several bases where he stores his goods, all fortified and guarded. I just don't know which base has my family's armor.
Just tell me where to start looking.
I'll upload the data to your nav system. But Commander, I want to be there when you find him.
So long, Rex.
Hey, found an individual party member quest. Also found out that Rex kind of murdered his father. Well, murder's the wrong word, but damn. That's one way to cut ties. You know, between like artery and hard muscle and other things that happen in the chest.
Commander?
What's your opinion of the last mission?
You mean the Rachni, right? They were dangerous, Commander. They proved that 2,000 years ago. I think it was a mistake to let them go. But that wasn't my call to make. It was yours. You know, you really should talk to T'Soni about her mom. She has to be hurting. Just saying, Commander.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was just watching some mail from home.
Oh, before I go, we saw Kaidan in a news vid about the Normandy. He's cute. Later, sis.
Let's pretend this never happened.
Are you interested in the Lieutenant, Chief?
No, ma'am. And anyway, Scuttlebutt says he's already sweet on someone. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Now this is a very complicated diagram of people crushing on each other. I don't even know what to call it. It's not even a triangle anymore. That's like a triangle. What do you call a triangle that has a line sticking out of it? Well, at that point it becomes the musical instrument, the triangle, I guess.
Your family seems to be important to you.
Yeah, we've always been close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Where did you grow up?
All over. We transferred a half a dozen times before I finished grade school. You go where personnel command sends you, right? I guess that's why I'm so tight with my sisters. We'd have to leave all our friends every 2 or 3 years.
After helping raise them, your sisters still talk to you? Amazing.
Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vidmails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen LY away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
Sounds like that situation didn't last.
Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Why didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand to hand.
You traveled all the way home to walk your sister to school.
It was only a dozen light years, like a day's cruise. It's not like I was going to Earth or something. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a straight-up puncher. When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was going to end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
Where was your father during this? Wasn't your family stationed near him?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
I never thought I'd hear you reciting poetry.
Just because I can drill you between the eyes at 100 meters doesn't mean I can't like sensitive stuff. Just don't spread it around. Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though.
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Your beliefs are your business. I'm your commanding officer, not your moral compass.
I appreciate that, Skipper. I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
Well, I've played this game a few times over now. I don't remember a lot of that ever happening in any previous playthrough. I remember finding out about the dad. I remember the quote about like space is great or whatever, but you can't build a life in space. Like I remember that quote, and I remember the God thing coming up and the fact that you can respond to that. I don't remember a single part of the entire monologue about the sister and the trip to protecting her and everything like that, or in trying to. The whole, like, potentially abusive boyfriend thing. Is that because it's, like, girl and girl talk, or is that something else? Like, it might have been that by the time I finally played a female character for the first time, I may have even been skipping by that kind of stuff, or maybe it's even something like, I don't know if it's even based on like this kind of meters, like maybe building up in a degree of Renegade has an impact on things. I don't know. All I know is that I feel like I've practically memorized a lot of the party member dialogue here. But even like I'm happy to go through it again because it's all I enjoy a lot of it, but I'm so used to so much of it, and that mostly surprised me.
Commander, good to see you.
You've been with C-Sec a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
I bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember this Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating him?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the psychos. I remember this one Elcor diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs, had the station in a bit of a panic. But this case wasn't that clear-cut. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
Hang on, an Elcor? I'm trying to think, how does an Elcor extract organs? There's a giant hoofed creature. Like, can they use tools that can do that kind of thing? Seems like he's like the least likely person. I was waiting for like a creepy little story about the gas mask guys. I'm briefly blanking on the names. It happens. Whoops. But that's not an Elcor.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage. It doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000 for a full set. Somebody's making a killing out there.
And there's the grand reveal that Krogans have 4 testicles. Little simple math to reveal a bizarre biological fact of this universe.
What'd you do about the geneticist?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
You mean threatening? Was that really necessary?
Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it paid off. One of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up when he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes. Walking, living test tubes.
He was growing parts inside these people?
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but C-Sec headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. It just use them to make more organs. But they wouldn't listen.
Well, you can't get them all.
No, but letting him get away like that. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
If you don't care about the fate of those hostages, then you're no better than he is. You're just a terrorist with a badge.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It doesn't make it any easier, but I see your point. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salian?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find him.
That's a hell of a nasty reveal. Also, there was one case of what I talked about before where dialogue options end up being more judgmental than you mean them to be, or don't quite say what you mean for them to say. In that case, he said interrogating. I was like, interrogating? But the option was like, was that really necessary, you torturer, threatening monster? I'm like, no, that's not quite what I was going for, but okay, Shepard, if you're gonna go with that, you who threatens people, it's not quite what I was going for there. That's a pretty horrifying sci-fi concept, though, is the idea of like cloning people's organs to sell them on the market, but doing so inside their bodies, just using them as organ farms. That's an extra level of crazy, because like it's not just murdering people and stealing their organs to sell them on the black market. You're keeping them alive so you can do it indefinitely. Probably not that indefinitely, because sounds incredibly bad for them, but much less temporarily.
Shepard, I'm glad you're here.
Good to see you smiling again, so to speak.
I'm sleeping much better now. I guess I'm getting used to how quiet your ship is. I still think a lot about my pilgrimage, though. I know Steren's our top priority, but with all the worlds we go to, I was hoping to find something to bring back to the flotilla.
What are you hoping to find?
Usually, people bring back something like a derelict ship we can use for salvage. But I need something bigger. There's a lot expected of me.
What's so special about you?
It's my father. He's the senior member of the Admiralty Board. He's one of only 5 people who can overrule the decisions of the Conclave for the good of the migrant fleet. My father is responsible for the lives of 17 million people. Our entire race is in his hands, and I'm his only child.
So are you some kind of heir to the Quarian throne or something?
No, it doesn't work that way. My father's position isn't hereditary. I'll probably never serve on the Admiralty Board myself. Officially, I'm just the same as any other citizen. But it doesn't work that way in practice. People have always treated me differently because of who my father is.
You must get all kinds of special privileges.
I probably had it easier than most growing up, but it's not all good. People like my father have enemies, and they're not above using me to get to him.
That must be tough on you.
My people place a high value on family and ancestry. There's an unspoken expectation that I'll live up to my father's example. Everyone's waiting for me to do something great on my pilgrimage, something that will forever change our lives for the better. If I don't, it's like I failed, and that reflects badly on both me and my father.
The work you're doing here is more important than anything any Quarian's ever done before.
Yes, I know. But you have to understand Quarian culture. We're a very insular society. The events beyond the flotilla don't much matter to the average citizen. Our greatest dream is that one day we'll return to our homeworld and drive out the Geth. But even if we stop Saren, that's not going to happen. There's still millions of Geth behind the veil. Until they're gone, our exile will continue.
What would you need to bring back to make everyone happy?
Something that would help us better understand the Geth. They've changed significantly since the exile. They've continued to evolve. We've done our best to study them, but it's not easy. They're very reclusive. Until recently, they never went beyond the borders of the Veil. And all the Geth we run into now are under Saren's control. We'd need to find Geth operating on their own, independently.
But I don't want this to get in the way of our mission, Shepard. First, we stop Saren. Then I'll worry about my own problems.
What was your father like?
It wasn't easy growing up as the daughter of one of the Admiralty. Even before he joined the board, he was a prominent figure. People looked to him for leadership. He had to set an example, and he expected the same of his daughter. Plus, he was pretty strict, a military man through and through. He never allowed me to settle for anything less than excellence. As a kid, I sometimes felt like he was pushing me too hard. But now I'm old enough to appreciate what he taught me. The world doesn't owe us anything. If we want something in life, we have to earn it.
Where was your mother in all this?
Mother was around, but she always seemed to kind of blend into the background. Almost like she was overshadowed by my father. He tends to do that to people. She passed on about 5 years ago. Some airborne virus that swept through the fleet. Happens sometimes when the filters start to break down. I think my father took it pretty hard. After she was gone, he became even more focused on his work. I think that was his way of dealing with the grief.
Sounds like a tough upbringing. You don't resent your father at all?
Like I said, it wasn't easy. My father's not the kind of person you bond with, and he wasn't around all that much. Too busy. People counted on him, and he took his duties seriously. Even when he was around, he always seemed a bit distant, like his mind was always somewhere else. Come to think of it, I can't ever remember seeing him smile. Not once. It's like he was always weighed down by all that responsibility. I mean, I know he cares about me, but he never really showed it, not in the usual way. I guess the best thing I can say about my father is that I respect him.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
See you later.
Alright, and that concludes our tour for the day. And we'll pretty much repeat that ritual every time we complete a main story mission, not including DLC and not including any of their individual story missions. Although in those cases I'll track down the individual if we do something relevant to them, which I might do right now. I mean, who doesn't want to catch the Nightmare Organ Doctor monster guy? You probably should try to take care of that guy before that becomes a problem. Oh well, that's the worst language I've ever used. It's already a problem before he becomes another person's problem. On top of his long list of horrible things he's done so far. Let's check. Journal. So there's the family armor. Krogan armor. The Argus Rho cluster. Here's Dr. Saleon. Last known whereabouts. The Herschel system at the Kepler Verge. Let's take a look. Someone needs to be stopped. Probably bring Garrus, and most logical conclusion to bring along would probably be Liara as the only doctor type character, but actually that doesn't really make that much sense. She's an archaeologist, not like a biological doctor. I was just thinking of who could help out patients and stuff like that. It'll be on a ship, I think. So maybe bring along Tali? Technically, yeah, technically engineer-type characters actually do have some degree of, Nope, that's the wrong way. They technically have some capabilities, biologically. One of your abilities is neural shock, for example, showing some level of being able to manipulate people biologically, and maybe that could be useful in that situation. There we go. Or maybe just pick a character who I think will be most shocked by the atrocity. I'm just trying to think of anyone who could be situationally interesting. But when you're doing a quest for an individual character, that character is so involved in the quest that whoever else is there probably doesn't particularly matter. Alright, Herschel in Kepler Verge.
Good timing, Commander. We got a transmission coming in from the Citadel. Top priority clearance.
Is it the Ambassador?
It's not his signature. I think it's from the Council. I'll patch it through to the comm room.
Well, we've got a minor interruption. Let's check it out.
Commander Shepard, we've received information that may be critical to your mission against Saren.
What kind of information?
We've received an urgent message from one of our infiltration regiments in the Traverse.
You mean spies?
Spectres tend to attract attention, Commander, but they are only one arm of the Council. Special task groups are often a better option for monitoring developing situations.
We currently have several infiltration units scattered throughout the border regions of Citadel space. This particular unit was gathering intel on Saren.
What did they find?
Unfortunately, the message we received was little more than static. The infiltration team must be in a situation where they can't set up proper interstellar communications. But the message was sent on a channel reserved for mission-critical communications. Whatever they were trying to tell us, we know it was important. Considering your interest in Saren, we thought you might want to investigate this. Find out what happened to our team. The signal originated from the planet Vermeer.
Holy shit, Vermeer already? Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It's just not a very long game. Vermeer's kind of a late game situation. Alright.
I'll look into it.
The Council prefers not to become involved in the specifics of Spectre activities. We only want you to be aware of all your options, including Vermeer. Good luck, Commander Shepard. We will keep you advised if we learn anything else.
Yeah, we won't be doing that for a little while. I've got a lot of other things I plan on doing before progressing there, including Pharos, the other story mission we already had in that tier. This is a thing that tends to happen over in a few different BioWare games, is they'll give you a series of different places to go where you can go at them in any order, but then usually just before you finish going to all of them, it'll suddenly give you something that sidelines you a bit that you could go to that wasn't available at first. Something that you don't have to do last, but is reserved for late game. And the fact that I'm even talking about late game already really highlights how overall not particularly long this game is, despite how you might expect. Let's see, we're in Pax, Horsehead Nebula, that's not it. Milky Way. Alright. Looking for the right name, Gemini Sigma, Hades Gamma, Artemis Tau, Voyager Cluster, Attican Beta, Armstrong Nebula, Centauri Omega, Kepler Verge, there we go. Newton and Herschel.
Commander, urgent message from Alliance Command coming in. I'll patch it through.
Shepard, this is Admiral Hackett from Alliance Command. We've got a situation here and you're the only one that can handle it.
What do you need, Admiral?
There's an Alliance training ground where we test weapons and technology in live fire simulations. One of the VIs we use to simulate enemy tactics in the drills is no longer responding to our override commands. It's gone rogue.
Are you telling me this computer is thinking on its own?
We're not stupid, Shepard. This is a virtual intelligence, not a true AI. It's not self-aware, and it can't access any external systems. We didn't do anything illegal here. Virtual intelligence support is critical to our military success. VIs process thousands of status reports and react in nanoseconds. No human can do that. We need you to fight your way through the training ground of the VI core and manually disable it.
Can't you disable it remotely?
Our fail-safes aren't responding. The VI operates on a closed network. It can't affect any external systems, but we don't have any direct access to its processes. We could bomb it from orbit, but the damage to the facility would be catastrophic. We'd prefer to have someone shut down the core. Someone like you. I know Spectres answer the Council, but you're still human. You're still part of the Alliance military, and right now we need you. The VI controls all the facility's weapons, drones, and automated defenses. You're the only one that can pull this off, Shepard. Good luck.
How tragic would it be if Shepard was like the last hope of taking down Saren and all this issue going on, and then ends up dying because they go on to take out, like, it's like some isolated VI. Like, this is super low stakes. Like, it's a training facility, it's useful, obviously, but it's already been taken over by VI, but the VI can't go anywhere, so it's just sitting there being useless until somebody fixes it. And the idea that Shepard could die, potentially, trying to take care of that problem seems like it'd be such a massive waste of a great resource. Hello? MSV Fidel. That's probably exactly what I'm here for. I thought I'd do a quick scan, though. Why not? Klobaka. Alright. And the obligatory scanning of the entire asteroid belt. There's usually like one thing somewhere on it. Or not. Oh, it was actually glowing a little bit. Rocky asteroid. There we go. Here's our one reward. While scanning this asteroid field in the Herschel system, you discovered a large deposit of platinum. There we go. 3,000. That's not bad. That's real money. That's useful. And here's why we're here. The Fidel is a Kowloon-class modular conveyor of human design. In addition to the standard cargo bay, the hull has several biological research modules attached. Private owner, Dr. Hart. We're not happy with you, Mr. Hart. We're gonna have to stop you, Mr. Hart. So you can go without Garrus, apparently. Maybe it would stop me otherwise, but in other situations throughout the franchise, if there's a mandatory party member, they're usually listed as mandatory. Let's see. Tally's not a bad idea. Could take Kaidan along. Definitely somebody I didn't bring in the last mission. Let's bring Ashley. She hasn't been in the party since the beginning of the game. Also gives me a brief chance to... Oh cool, it's saving for me. Gives me a chance to level these characters up. 20 points. Fuck. 44 points. Oh, it's because Garrus has never been in the party the entire game. I just realized that. Right. I got her on my way out of the Citadel. Yeah, I got him on the way out of the Citadel. Never used him in the party. Because we've only done like the main story missions since then, and he just didn't happen to be on either of those. So, yeah, I've got a lot of specialization to do there. But Ashley's also a fair bit behind. Did I take Ashley? Was it Ashley and Rex? I want to say it was Ashley and Rex I took on the Artemis Tau mission. So I think. Hard to remember for sure. Anyway, going down to fitness is good for the health, so we probably should get down there. There we go. That makes her a bit tankier. Going for further down damage when it hurts. Get her the sniper rifle upgrade. Let's see. Yeah, I remember her training in sniper rifles now. Yeah, she was... I believe she was the other party member when I went after Liara. So that just shows how many goddamn points we've gotten. Because you level up so fast in this game. Probably because there's just not that much game in the first place. Let's see, I can go down combat armor to max out damage reduction. Let's go for that. I want this character to be really hard to hit. I mean, to take down, I mean. So I think that's not a bad idea. Alright, so weapon damage is up, health is up. Get another point to snipers, perhaps. Even if this isn't really the time to use them. Alright. Holy crap, Garrus. Okay. Turing agent, is that useful? The required military service of his people has given Garrus expert training in assault and sniper rifles, increases accuracy with all weapons, increases damage with assault and sniper rifles. 4% accuracy, 4% damage. Accuracy goes up faster than damage, but yeah, if it's gonna give him a flat accuracy and damage bonus, then that's worth investing in. More so than Liara up to an extent. Electronics would be good for shield capacity, so I should get down to that. There we go. It's a basic survivability thing on this difficulty, I think, just to have access to that. We'll give him each of his ability points. There. We want to have all the abilities he can activate during combat. Adrenaline burst is good to have too. So let's get down to tactical armor. Sabotage. Adrenaline burst, that's a good start. There's medium armor. Alright, that's a lot of the major stuff out of the way. So he has all of his basic abilities. He has medium armor. He has some bonus shielding. Could go further down some of these different trees. Could give him bonuses to assault rifles. Should probably give him some basic, at least give him the basic skill. But yeah, the damage bonuses are not ignorable. And I can go practically down this tree too. Maybe take him down to advanced overkill, or even access to sniper rifles. There we go. That's a start. He has 4 points to do. Let's see, next tactical armor. That's advanced shield boost. I think I may do electronics next. This is increased radius of all of his offensive effects. That's not a bad idea either. 10%. He'd be at 18% in 3 points. Otherwise he could gain... Is that 90 shield? I could double his shield capacity in 3 points also. Let's go for that. I'm gonna go for that. There we go. So we have a basic setup for Garrus now. That was some rapid fire leveling. I do some of it with a little bit of extra confidence just because of the fact that the specs are surprisingly inconsequential in this game. It's important, but it's also hard to mess up your character that much because they have generally useful skills, and that's generally what they're going to use. Let's get back to my shotgun, especially in this close range. Should be... Yeah, it's a bit concerning how many red icons are on the map right now. Who's fighting to defend this guy? Oh, test subjects. And they look like... They look like husks. That's bad. And they're puking on us. Okay, this is terrible. This is terrible. Yeah, fuck this. Fuck this. No, Garrus, you got puked on. That's somehow killed you? How did they have acid puke? How does this work? What's the logic here? I'm concerned a bit. Alright, get up, Garrus. Garrus?
Perimeter clear.
Oh, I guess he's okay because he started talking before he even got up. Well, leveling up again. Just happens. Ooh, next shotgun upgrade is here. I have 3 points in the charm now, just magically. I'll do the next shotgun upgrade. You can get more health or more assault rifle. Let's have you specialize in snipers a bit, since no one else really is. Get the next electronic skill. There we go. Did I get more Paragon? No, that's where it was before. Well, we're not saving the hostages at the moment, or at least those people are way worse off. So he went from harvesting organs to apparently creating zombies. That's a jump. Just taking out hazards a bit. Yeah, things got way worse around here. Any containers? Didn't really see any. I need to get in the habit of using Metagel more often, just because once you finish a mission, you just get it all back anyway.
Thank you for saving me from those things.
Commander, that's him. That's Dr. Saleon.
What? My name is Hart. Dr. Hart. Please, get me out of here.
Are you sure it's him?
Positive. There's no escape this time, Doctor. I'd harvest your organs first, but we don't have the time.
You're crazy. He's crazy! Please, don't let him do this to me.
Put him out of his misery so we can get going.
Gladly. Your days of butchering are over, Doctor.
No! Please! Please!
Take him out! That was satisfying.
Good. Remember that feeling. That's how it should be.
I will, Commander. Well, I guess we're done here.
Salion's medical equipment is stained with the blood of many species, pale blue, violet, orange, and more than a few dark red. But his work has ended here. Time to head back to Normandy. Yep, he's a monster. Just a straight up monster. Oh, cool. My skill's too low. There's times for due process, but due process failed, then obviously I went full vigilante here, but he's actively doing it. He's just ruining dozens of people's lives just on a whim, because he's just that horrible, and the system failed to stop him, and the important thing was that he had to be stopped now for good. And that's one surefire way to make sure of that. Now let's just take a look around to make sure there's no more nightmare zombies running around, just in case. This the bridge? Yep. No, I think we're done here. So his experiments finally got him back. They, he got himself into a situation that he couldn't escape from because he didn't have the power to fight off the things he had created. So that would have been, actually probably the most satisfying outcome would just be to have him just succumb to his own horribleness. But there's no way of knowing for sure what was going to happen. And we didn't know what the situation was when we got here. But we're definitely but we took care of the problem for now. So, the world is now short one Dr. Hart. And probably hundreds of more people will be alive as a result. I think you can totally arrest him and get it and have that work too. But it's satisfying. I'm not in the habit of endangering innocence, or I'm not planning on generally endangering innocence in the pursuit of my goals, and I don't really want to do outright evil acts and stuff like that. But damn, they had to basically go out of their way to make that character as evil as possible. It's one of the least morally gray cases of vigilante behavior to take part in the entire game, probably. Hey, Garrus.
Commander, good to see you.
Oh yeah? That's it? No follow-up at all?
Commander, how are you?
Yeah, you actually can't talk to him. That's a surprise.